Hey there, welcome to this episode of Experts on Purpose. Today we have on our show Gian-Carlo Torres. Gian is a young entrepreneur and consultant at Immunotec who helps people with accurate and valid information on fixing and correcting the immune system. In today's show, we are going to find out from him how he used one of the lowest points in his life to use that as an inspiration to start his business with less than $1,000 to invest. Let's find out. Hi, Janko. Welcome to Experts on Purpose.
Hello, Josna. I am super happy to be here.
I'm super excited to hear your story, Janko. So, the usual pattern that I see nowadays in our guests is that they hit a very low point in their life, and that's where they try to overcome that challenge. And in that process, they find something about themselves. They identify their expertise, and now they cannot keep it to themselves. They want to serve the world using their expertise, and that's how they establish their business. And I think your story is similar, right? So I want to understand what exactly happened a few years ago when you were this 19-year-old kid, and then how did you become the entrepreneur that you are today?
Well, it's I always had the dream to become an entrepreneur since I was little, and I was always a big thinker. I would love to dream, I was always a daydreamer. And I think because of this, I wasn't so good at school because I was always daydreaming. You follow me? While everybody is studying math, I'm thinking, how can I own schools? How can I build schools? How can I, have buildings? This is how I've been basically wired since I'm little. Now, why just now? I have no idea. But it's just how I've been thinking since I'm little. And in this process, once I graduated from high school, I was a homeschooler, by the way. Basically from when I was 11 all the way to high school, I was homeschooled. And once I graduated from high school, I was going through two issues, Jyotsna, and maybe the audience or yourself can relate. First of all, my mom had a health challenge. And second of all, it was the daunting question of what am I going to do?
Right.
What am I going to do for a career? And I had so many ideas, Jyotsna, so many ideas that I just didn't know how to connect the dots. I didn't really know what I was good at. I want to be a business owner. I want to work for Apple. I just had so many things to do, but I was like, what do I do? But there's always one thing that I wanted to do, Jyotsna. I wanted to create a business where I could help a lot of people. That was always my obsession. But again, I Googled how to start a business at 18. And what do I see? 80% fail when they start a business.
Yeah, not good statistics to believe in, right?
On my stats. And then when I see, you need at least $10,000 minimum to start a business. And with all the risk. So that is not encouraging me at all. So I'm just scared now at this point. So, I'm just hustling, right? I'm just, I'm cutting grass, I'm waiting tables, I'm just hustling. And it's interesting because from a difficult situation, which was my mom's health challenge, someone tells us about a product from Canada. We give it to her. And basically, this is how I started my entrepreneurial journey, because from mom being in bed for a whole year with sickness, she literally just got out of bed in a week. I remember waking up a Sunday morning and I see her reorganizing the whole kitchen. And I was like, Mom, what happened? She says, it's the product. And because of that, I decided, you know what? I want to get this product and help hundreds and thousands of people. And since making that decision with no money, okay, I want people to understand this. I started the business with a credit card, with no business experience, a credit card, and hunger. I was like, I'm hungry. I want to read all the books. I want to listen to all the podcasts. I want to go to all the events. I want to learn and be a master at this business. And it happened because of a health challenge. Funny enough, like you said, because of a difficult situation. And the other difficult situation is because I was broke. I was 19 and broke. Okay. But I was hungry. And since making that decision, Jyotsna, in October 11th, it's been 5 years since I decided to become a full-time entrepreneur. And we have a business that scales 7 figures every single year, over $2 million that we sell in product, and a huge team. So what I'm saying with this is challenges, if you have a different perspective with it, it will make you grow into an amazing person.
Absolutely.
And I've gone through many challenges, many challenges, but because of personal growth, because of making the decision to see failure as my friend and not my enemy, and not seeing challenges as a bad thing, but a way to grow, then that's why we've grown this 7-figure business, So, that's my story in a nutshell.
Yeah, but that's very true, Gianco, because there are a lot of people who become very bitter and resentful as a result of challenges, and they start seeing life in a very negative way. But it's all up to the individual to see some hope, or like a clue that can take them to the next step. And you saw a business opportunity in this health product that helped your mom. So how did you convert that into a business? It was, of course, made by a company, right? That was not yours. So how did you start working with them?
When I started to research about how to start a business, right? What I was thinking was I had to either invent a product, right? I had to find a product, partner with someone, invest a lot of money, and then figure out a business. Okay. Yeah. And in this country, actually in the whole world, but in the US, there are a lot of ways to start a business, right? So you can start an online business. You can start a business by inventing a product or finding the product. Okay. You can start a franchise. Okay. Or you can start a business. And this is where the audience might be like, wait, I've heard of that, but I'm not sure about it. You can start a business through the network marketing industry. Now, that's where people, they kind of maybe even freeze. Maybe they're like, oh, wait, I see bad name. I've tried it. Other people try it. And this is why challenges are great. Okay. Because this is how I started. So usually, for example, if I wanted to buy a McDonald's franchise, which is, it's a proven business. It's very hard to see a McDonald's kind of close down. It's very hard. So if you buy a McDonald's, you probably profit. Now, there's some risk with buying a McDonald's franchise. From what I know, it costs at least $1 million to buy a franchise, one franchise. And it's not even a guarantee that they'll say yes to you.
Right.
And for you to get that profit back, it'll take a couple of years. And it'll take a lot of work. And there's some franchises that cost $100,000, some $50,000. But if you think about it, most franchises, it has to be at least $50,000 minimum. $50,000 is some money, and $1 million is some money too. So
you need to invest money up front in order to start the business.
Exactly, and that's normal. Okay, so you need money to start a business. Now, this is where I started to learn about this new approach in business, in which I think everybody has to have the right information, right? And it was through network marketing. So what did I find out with my product? My product has an amazing story, Jyotsna. And for the ones, that are listening and watching, my product had the option to be a pharmaceutical product. It had the option to go into stores, or it had the option between network marketing. Why did these people, these entrepreneurs and these doctors decide to do it through network marketing? Because it's low risk. For example, I started my business under $1,000. Think about that. Now, if I gave up, okay, I lost $500. I didn't lose $50,000. I had to lose $1 million. Okay. Right. Second of all,
barrier to entry was less for you.
Yeah, 100%. And then second of all, what happens? Now I have the opportunity to move product. So basically to sell product, to gather raving fan customers, or to educate people on starting a business like if we're a franchise. So basically I now have 3 jobs, Jyotsna, in what I do. I sell product. I build a team that wants to start a franchise. And then I increase the productivity of that team. Starting the business under $1,000. For me, Jyotsna, that was a win-win.
Yeah.
So then I realized that a lot of people had different thoughts and different opinions about the industry.
Exactly. And I was about to ask you, network marketing generally has a very bad reputation, right? So
it does.
How did you change your mindset around that? Or probably how is this company making it a win-win game for everyone?
You need 3 things to have a good company, first of all. You need a great product. You need a good corporate leadership. Okay. And you need good leaders in general. If you have those 3 things, so good leaders, good corporate team, and a good product, you will find, and you will trust the company you're building with. Now, I'm going to say why we have a bad name. Okay. And we have a bad name for a lot of good reasons, actually. Okay. First of all, because a lot of distributors, they overhype everything, Johnson.
Mhm.
They say that the product is magical. They say that the business is super easy. And this is not true. Entrepreneurship is tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. And then the distributors are at fault because they're not trained. So then they start to overhype and overpromise. So what happens, Johnson? Now you're a distributor. You have no training. You're overhyping everything. Let's say you bring a team in, and since they see that, hey, this isn't easy, this is entrepreneurship, but
Mhm.
Jocelyn said it was easy. But Jocelyn said that the product. So what happens? Their expectations are now just basically dead. So they say, you know what? This doesn't work. This is a scam. This is a pyramid. It's, like all these, just why? Because
Yeah,
the leader didn't prepare them. So
exactly.
it is our job as a business owner, as a distributor, to basically manage expectations. Look, this is a business. This is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not easy. But if you treat it like a franchise,
Mm.
you treat it like a profession, you will get amazing results. And again, we go back to company. A lot of people pick bad companies. And some people say, oh, well, some network marketing companies, they don't last 5 years. Well, guess what? Most companies don't last 5 years. So it's our job to pick the right company. In my
Yeah.
case, why did I decide to even do this? Because mom was in bed and I saw that the product got out of bed. So what did I see? First thing, I see results. I see,
Yeah.
this product is doing something.
Yeah.
Second, I say, you know what? Let me research it, Johnson. That's what I said. And I start to research it. And once I started to research the product, I saw that there was medical backup, there was scientific backup. So I said, wait a second. Whenever I'm educating the consumer or educating the customer, if they say, hey, where's the research? I can show them the research. That gives me credibility. And then I can teach my team, right? How to also do the same thing and show the research. And then I start to meet the corporate team. I went to the headquarters. I saw all these things and I said, you know what? This is a company in which anybody can build a business for the next 5 to 10 years. So, to answer your question, I'm adjusting a little bit. There's basically the person who wants to see network marketing as a viable option to start their first business. They have to first research the company.
Right.
And second of all, they have to develop themselves. Okay, for example, just before talking to you, I was reading a book by John Maxwell, The 21 Laws of Leadership.
Right.
Nobody's going to pay me to do this. You're following me?
I was actually going to ask you, what are some of the things you did 5 years ago when you started out to develop yourself? Because you were just out of school, you did not have any experience working in corporates or selling. So what were the initial things you invested in yourself to prepare yourself for entrepreneurship?
Even when I was broke just now, I think most of my income was investing in myself. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was earning, I had this tiny little team and I was earning $500 a month. Okay. I would invest $200 in books. And that was my only income. You're following me? And then I would go to events of training that required travel, hotel, food. These things cost money. But I saw it as an investment. So there was 3 things that I did to really get to the point that I am now. First of all, books, as I just mentioned. I mean, if you go to my library, I have all kinds of books and I'm reading every single day, Johnson. Why? Because I know, Johnson, that what worked last year is not going to work next year. And I know that if I want my business to grow, I have to grow. I have to grow. And the only way for me to grow is to educate myself. So books, for example, my favorite author is John Maxwell. John Maxwell is my favorite author. I have almost 10 of his books. And this is, I would say, a learning hack that I think everybody should know. In the beginning, Johnson, I just wanted to read all kinds of books. So for example, if I went to Facebook and I saw an ad about a book, I buy it. And then I buy it. I found some good books like these. Okay. So I'm not saying that what I did was bad, but I realized that my focus was kind of scattered. I didn't have a focus of what I wanted to learn. And then with John Maxwell, I started to read in one of his books, I think it's The 15 Laws of Personal Growth. He said, you have to focus. Like, what do you want to get better in? So I said, you know what, Jocelyn, I want to get better in leadership. I want to get better in communication and health. So I realized John Maxwell has communication and leadership. So what have I been doing just now? I've just been buying John Maxwell books on topics I need to get better in. So for the listeners, this is a great tip. Don't just buy books of a million authors. Okay, I have books of a lot of authors. Don't get me wrong, but buy books or events or listen to podcasts that you need to listen to, not just because someone told you or just because you saw an entrepreneur put an ad. So from just buying a lot of books, I started to get books that from focusing. Exactly. So first thing I do to this day is books. And I did that from day one. Mm-hmm. Second of all, I invested a lot in events, either in-person events or now online events. Yeah. So for every single year, I think I would invest maybe almost $1,000 in events, personal events, team events, training events, online.
So who's is one of like how John Maxwell is your favorite author? Whose events do you keep going back to?
And when it comes to events?
Yeah.
Okay. So one is Eric Worre. So for the ones that don't know Eric Worre, he works with Tony Robbins. He's a network marketing expert. And he has events of 50,000 people, 100,000 people. And he makes the distributor in the network marketing industry as a professional. And that's why I follow him. So Eric Worre is one of my friends. For example, this year in December, he hosts an event called the GoPro event. It's still going to be online this year. And there's over 50,000 people. And that cost me almost $100. Okay. But again, it cost me, but it was an investment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So that's an event that for me, it's almost like religious. Like every single year I go to that event, and this event, and this is something else. This event lasts 3 days from 9 to 9. Last year, 36 hours, 3 days, writing and taking notes. This is the commitment that you need to build $1 million business. So events, John Maxwell books, and then podcasting, which we're doing right now. Like right now, Jocelyn, I'm really happy that you decided to do these podcasting, because podcasting is so amazing for a lot of reasons. As much as I love reading, podcasting at times makes me learn as much or more than reading. And I think it's because since it's audio, there's something special about audio learning. I don't know how to explain it, but audio learning literally changes the way you think. And this is podcasting. Like right now, we're having a conversation. You're not charging with these podcasts, Justin. You're giving this value for free.
Right.
And everybody can just listen to this podcast, watch this podcast, and just take all the notes and all the golden nuggets that you and me are talking about. It's amazing. You can find Tony Robbins, for example, one of the greatest entrepreneurs ever, and listen to a podcast and get all of the golden nuggets for free. Yeah. And his event
literally, it just feels like having a cup of coffee with somebody whom you never meet otherwise.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's like you're hanging out with them. So for example, Tony Robbins, each event costs $10,000. I'm sorry. Each ticket costs $10,000 from what I know of in person, $10,000. Not everybody has this cash.
Yeah.
But you can listen to a podcast with Tony Robbins. That's amazing.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And I found certain podcasts also, like Eric Worre, John Solider, Tony Robbins, and just many more that I've plugged in week through week. For example, Justin, I found podcasts that I like so much that I listened to more than 50 times. And that's something I also want the audience to write down. Hey, don't just listen to one podcast and be like, oh, this is nice. No, re-listen to it 50 to 100 times. That's the type of commitment you want. Because if you do this, like going back to Tony Robbins is super disciplined. Okay. Maybe you want to be as disciplined as Tony Robbins. Okay. And you listen to podcasts about discipline. And you're listening, like, wow, this is good. This is good. And you're like, you know what? I didn't grasp it as well. Let me listen to it again. And you're working out, you're working. You listen to it again. And you listen to it again. Before you know it, Josna, you and me articulate Tony Robbins. And we start to do the same things. We're like, whoa, how did this happen? Because you found a couple podcasts and you listen to it 50 to 100 times.
You totally internalize their message and you start living it.
Exactly. Like sometimes I've listened to podcasts so many times that I realize that I start acting and talking like that person. Now, again, this is only with podcasting. So 3 things: books, the right books, the books that will make you grow, the right events, and the right podcast. But podcasts, we have to re-listen to a few of them that we love until we start to think like that. Those 3 things, Justin, I've been doing till this day.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
one
feel like whoever
important
does that,
distinction, because a lot of people put in a lot of hard work in the initial days, but then as they start growing, they forget about investing in themselves. But I'm really glad that you mentioned that you do all of this and more year on year so that you can be on top of your game.
yeah. And something I learned from John Maxwell Johnson is he always says you cannot give what you don't have.
Yeah,
So if I'm not feeding myself, Josna, I can't be having this conversation with you. I
exactly.
can't because then I would not know how to give value to you and your audience.
That's
And
true.
this is the same with my customers, prospects, and my own team. If
Hmm.
I'm not feeding myself, Josna, there's no way I can help my team. And that's a beautiful responsibility. Like you and me, Josna, and for the ones that are listening or watching, we have such a big responsibility. And our responsibility is either to help people with their health, help people with their businesses, help people with publishing. This is a responsibility. Like it's not only a business, it's a responsibility. And
Hmm.
if you don't feed yourself and you don't set high standards for yourself, how can you help your team? How can you help people develop their potential? So for me, it's not only something of business, something of, oh, like, I want to 10 times my sales. Do I want to 10 times my sales? Of course I want to 10 times my sales, like every entrepreneur. But it's a responsibility. As in, if I don't feed myself, Josna, I cannot feed other people either with value, either with
Hmm.
money contributions. And that for me is a great responsibility. And just recently, Josna, I was in an event Saturday, and I was giving like some, I was giving a speech about, like just how to grow as an entrepreneur. And Jeff Bezos once said something, and I loved what he said, Josna. He said, for you to become a successful entrepreneur, you have to be flexible in the process
Hmm.
and stubborn in the vision.
Nice. I'm going to
Ooh.
note that down.
I love that. I said, how accurate is this? And I was comparing this with a doctor. His name is Dr. Gustavo Bunos. He was actually the one who discovered my product and his story. He has a book called, I think, Breakthrough in Cell Defense. Anybody can just go to Amazon and see his book. And he talks about his goal, Josna, was just to find a protein that would be good for people in general.
Hmm.
So in the beginning, it was a personal goal. And he partnered with some colleagues. So he understood, hey, for me to find a protein like this, I have to have a team with me.
Hmm.
And in the process, he finds a protein. A Swiss company actually sends him a protein. He tests it on mice. And he sees that the mice's immune system, Josna, skyrockets. He says,
Okay.
this is amazing. And in this process, he found a protein that was just amazing for the immune system. Okay. Now, it was so amazing, this research, that he changed his goal. Now his goal was, I want everybody to have a box of this protein. So this is my message for the audience. In the beginning, we all have a personal goal.
Hmm.
Maybe I don't know, I want to create a 7-figure business. I want to buy a bigger home, a car.
Yeah.
I don't know. And like these aren't bad goals. These are internal goals, which are pretty nice, right? Because it gives us energy.
Yeah.
Eventually, every entrepreneur has to have a contribution goal.
Hmm.
Like, okay, I want to reach this goal, but why do I want to reach the goal? Because I want to help 1,000 people. I want to help 100 people become self-publishers. I want to help 1,000 people get a better immune system. Because like this doctor, eventually in the beginning, it was a personal goal, and then eventually it was a contribution goal. Okay. Every single great entrepreneur does this, Jyotsna, as you know. It's not just about them. It's
Yeah.
not just about them. It's about other people. And in the end, where do we get money from? We get it from other people.
Absolutely.
That's it. So if us as entrepreneurs, if we develop, okay, our own personal goals, which is powerful, it gives us energy, but then we combine that to a contribution goal. How can I contribute to people? Oh, it's so powerful. It is so powerful because you're going to stay in the game longer and you're going to enjoy it.
This is such a nice way of looking at entrepreneurship, because initially it all starts with our own small personal goals. And then as you expand as a person, you want to give back more and you want to contribute. And that again comes back to you in so many ways, right?
Always, always. Like, again, like this podcast, I'm not paying you, you're not paying me. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because why? Because you and me together are just giving value to people. And that is priceless.
True. So, talking about other people, I also want to touch upon your team. You said you do three things in your business. One is selling your products, the
Yep.
other is growing your team, and then training them. So, I also always used to think that network marketing is all about selling, selling, and selling. But you have a couple of other key roles that you play. Could you talk about the importance of those two things?
Yeah. So of building a team and increasing the productivity.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay. So look, 90% of everyone who comes into my business, for example, usually comes for a product. Okay. And this is human nature. Like, like me, like I'm a big Apple fan. Okay. And I have all the Apple products. I don't work for Apple because I don't want to work for Apple, but I'm a raving fan customer. Okay. Most people, or a lot of people, I'm not going to say most, but a lot of people that become entrepreneurs sometimes, it's because they were raving fan about a product first. And then this kind of developed themselves, being like, hey, you know what? Maybe I want to sell something because they were raving fan about something. And
Yeah.
human beings, we're all about emotion, right? So if we have such a belief about a product, usually that's when we decide to become an entrepreneur somehow. So most people that come to my team usually go for the product. Maybe they want a better immune system, better health, better energy. Okay. But to answer your question on building a team and increasing productivity, it's fascinating. So this is how it works usually. Okay. Let's say I get a referral just now, and the person says, hey, look, this person wants to know more about the product. The person does not care about the business. Okay, cool. I explain the product with videos, with information, and with stories. They get on the product just now. They love the product. And the next months, they realize, you know what? I could do this from home. It's a little side hustle. Maybe I can build some extra money to pay off some debt. That's how it usually works. So now they call me and say, you know what, Giancarlo, I really love the product. I'm a raving fan about the product. And I want to know how can I make an extra $500, an extra $1,000 a month? That's where I sit down with them. And the first thing I do is that I manage their expectations. I say, look, don't expect $5,000 in a month, $1 million in a year. That's unrealistic. And this is like going to the mall, right, Josh? Now, when you go to the mall, if you want to go to the Apple store, you first have to see, okay, where am I first? And once you see where you are first, then you can see, oh, okay, if I go this way, I can go to the Apple store. It's the same thing with entrepreneurship and network marketing. I want the person who wants to do the business to understand where they are in life first. If it's a person of influence, just now. If it's a person who has already been a successful entrepreneur, maybe they'll have faster success.
Yeah.
Because they have the influence, they have the contacts, they have the skills, they have the leadership. But if it's someone like me, when I started, I had to be realistic. I had no business experience. So that's the first thing I do. I manage their expectations. And then from there, I kind of see what are their goals. They say, look, my goal is just to pay the car, because I pay $500 for my car and I just want to pay that off. I want this income, this passive income to come every single month and pay the car off. Okay. Then I tell them, look, what's the goal of our relationship is for me to train you enough so that eventually you can do without me. So because once I do this with them, they understand the relationship. And then eventually, if they want to grow a bigger business, they don't need me. So what did I just do just now? I systemize, I duplicated. And the greatest businesses ever are based on systems where the problem can be solved without you. For example, I have over 5,000 customers. I've only met like 50 of them. I haven't met the other 4,950. Why? Because I created a system of either raving fan customers or independent people that know how to solve the problem without me. So what do? I manage expectations. I give them the right training. And then I work with them to a point, and then I take them off. How do I increase the productivity of the team? Well, I increase the productivity of the team, first of all, by being connected with them, by knowing what they need. And second of all, with events. So what happens with network marketing? Since you're not an employee, you're basically, like a free agent, then I can't treat you as in you have to do this because it's based on your desire.
Yeah, there's no commitment, right?
Exactly. Like if you only want to, make $500 a month, Josna, hey, I just support you to that point. So, but I can't tell, hey, Josna, why are you, doing this? No, because you're not my employee. So what I have to do, Josna, is I have to give them the right tools and the right events. And I think this applies to any business, honestly. So, because if I give them the right tools and then I develop events, either online or in person, of good interviews, of entrepreneurs, of CEOs and corporate with good training, okay, good product stories, good business stories. This will increase their belief on themselves. Okay, because everybody who comes into network marketing wants to grow, Johnson. They want to grow as a business owner. So I have to create tools and events that increase this belief every day. Because there's only a handful of things that you have to do here. You sell product, build a team, increase productivity. There's not a million things you have to do in this business, because the company already takes care of the infrastructure.
Yeah, the products and all that is already taken care.
Exactly. So this makes our life easy. So by creating tools and creating events, they also duplicate this to their team. This increases their belief, and then in the end, it's up to them. After an event, they might say, you know what, I want to do 10 times more than what I'm doing now because I got some good notes, I got some good training. Or they might say, you know what, I'm just going to stay as a product a consumer. This is not for me.
Yeah.
Or I just want to keep my goals. So these are network marketing principles, but every single business, no matter the size, I think can apply this to themselves,
exactly.
Because
this is not just for network marketing, because I was just relating it to my business. A couple of years ago, I never worried too much about my team. It was small. But now I realize that since I have to grow my business, I cannot do it all by myself. And I have a bigger team today. And every single week, I invest in training them so that they can be more productive and make my life easier, serve our clients better. So I think what you said were golden principles which apply to any business.
Absolutely. And there's one book for everybody that's listening that I recommend. And I think I have it somewhere. Let me see. There you go. I have it right here. It's one of my favorite books ever. I've read it over 100 times. The Good Millionaire.
T. Harv Eker.
By Harv Eker. Have you read it?
I have read other books by T. Harv Eker, but not this one.
This one, check this out, Justin. This book is only 168 pages.
Okay.
Once you read this book, you're going to almost laugh because this book is almost made for little kids a little bit because of how it's built. It's very strange. But this book is all about changing your money beliefs, which, I think is something that we'll talk about in a second, but how to systemize and duplicate a business. The principles that I'm telling you, not only have I learned it through my company and through network marketing training, I've learned it from The Good Millionaire. Because the point is, create a system where the problem can be solved without you. Like, I'll give you an example, Justin. It was my parents' 30th anniversary. And my dad made an amazing trip to the West Coast, California, Arizona. We went to Yosemite, Grand Canyon. It was amazing. And of course, those 15 days, I was going to take it off. I wasn't going to do any business. But in this trip, I told myself, because I worked this business with my mom, I said, I wonder how the team was going to react without us. Mm-hmm. This is where you really see if your company is independent.
Right.
And those 15 days, Jasna, I always worked a little bit because, like entrepreneurs, we love to work no matter what, take a call, taking this, that's just part of, of what we love to do. But in those 15 days, I didn't really do anything. I was enjoying the trip. I went to, my back office, sales were going up, people were selling, people were buying, and I was not doing one thing. And I came back from the trip. Everybody, I qualified, everything good. And I had a grateful moment there because I thought to myself, wow, to know that 5 years ago, I only had $50 in my name. And now I can literally take a 15-day vacation, get paid without wearing anything. And this is where I noticed, Jasna, the power of systemizing and duplicating. Right. Problem being solved without you. So you get paid while you're sleeping, like Warren Buffett says. And again, I learned a lot about it. I learned The Good Millionaire. Whoever is in entrepreneurship, I would definitely get this book, read it, reread it a million times. But systemizing and duplicating is so important because you enjoy the business, you help a lot of people, and you have freedom. And I think that's the entrepreneur's best case ever.
Thanks for recommending this book, Gianco. I have one other question. Other than all the good things that you're doing in your business, implementing these systems and training the team and all of that, I also noticed that you're actually building your own personal brand. You have your own website. You're not just dependent on the company's website. You have your own personal brand website. These podcasts and other things that you're doing to help others is also kind of helping you build your own personal brand. So what's the strategy behind that? Is that necessary for every entrepreneur?
Yeah, absolutely. It's necessary because no company is forever. Okay. Like my company, I love my company. And the way I see my company, doing business the next 20, 30, 40 years for sure, because we're a solid company. But life is crazy.
Yeah.
Life is crazy. And I don't really know what's going to happen in the next 5, 10 years. Okay. I really hope my company stays because, I'm so convinced and passionate about that. The product that we have helps thousands, hundreds, millions of people with the immune system. So, I really hope it stays alive, but I can't guarantee that. But what I can do is build my personal brand. And I remember Robert Kiyosaki, he once said something, Justin, and I thought it was really good. He says, employees look for work, okay? But then entrepreneurs build a network. And with this, I'm not putting down employees, okay? Please don't get me wrong for the ones that are listening. Like my dad has been employed his whole life. He's maintained us really well. Both are honorable, right? So if you want to be an entrepreneur, it's honorable. If you want to be an employee, it's honorable. But
yeah, it's just a choice.
Right. But there is a difference here. Employees look for work. Entrepreneurs build a network. To build your brand is building a network. So if something happened to my company tomorrow, which I hope not, but if it did, I have a personal brand. Because why? Because I build a network of people. And I think that's the thing about personal brand. Personal brand is almost like a savings account for your own business. Yeah. Because if something happens to the business, you have such a good personal brand that you're going to have a lot of followers, or the followers will follow you wherever you go.
Right.
And that's the thing about personal brand. That's the thing about personal brand is it's almost like a savings account, so that no matter what happens to, like your businesses, you're going to have followers. And I think that's so important nowadays. Because again, you're following the principle of an entrepreneur, right? You're building a network. And if you build a network, you don't ever have to look for a job again.
Very well said, Janko. I mean, I'm so, happy that at such a young age, you have such a big vision, not just for your life, but for touching so many other people's lives. So what would be your final word of advice for all those experts out there who don't even realize that they have an expertise and that's why they're playing a small game?
That there are people that have a lot more talent than me, but are not doing the things that I'm doing. And there are people with less talent than me that are doing 10 times more than what I'm doing. Why is this? One word: failing. The people that are doing more are not scared to fail. They see failure as their friend. In a book from John Maxwell, Failing Forward, he says that the difference between the successful and the non-successful is that the successful see failure as part of the process. That's it. That's the only difference. And I know that most people, and I say all people in the audience that are listening, have a lot more talent than me. They know how to talk better. They have better, systems or whatever. I'm sure that they have so many things better than me, but maybe they haven't developed this failing forward attitude. I wasn't like this, Johnson. Okay. I wasn't the best at school. Okay. I didn't pass my permit test the first 2 times because I was so scared. Okay. Literally, because when I failed the first time, it's true. When I failed my first permit test, I was so scared to do it again because I was scared of failing. So it took me like a year to do it again. You're following me? Because I had not developed this failing forward attitude. And the school wasn't the best. So I had this failure, kind of like replaying my mind, in my mind. And guess what? It wasn't helping me. Once I started to read the podcast, to listen to the podcast, to read the books about failure, I started to act a lot more. I started to act with more courage. And then I started to get more results. Despite failing, I was getting more results. Right. So that's my advice for everybody that's listening. If you haven't reached your full potential, maybe it's just because it's part of the process. Maybe you're about to reach it, so don't give up. Or maybe you haven't developed the mindset that failure is your friend. Failure is not your enemy. If I would have been told this when I was 12, I would have created $1 million business at 18. Seriously. But why? Because I had not developed this failing forward attitude. Failure is your friend. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you embrace failure and you see failure as part of the process, you're going to be able to accomplish anything in business and in life.
Very well said, Janko. I'm so glad that you have come here as a guest on Experts on Purpose. I personally learned so much from this episode. So where can our listeners and viewers find out more about you?
So You can find me in my website, thisisjanco.com. So this is Njanco, Gianco.com. That's kind of where you can send me an email, send me, some information if you're interested in the product or whatever. And if you want to just go to my social media, you can go to my Instagram, same, this is Gianco. Facebook, my full name, Gian-Carlo Torres, Gian-Carlo Torres. You can find me through Facebook, send me a message, have a conversation. LinkedIn, same name. And social media and my website is the best way to find me.
Perfect. I'm going to have all the links right below in the show notes. Thank you once again for coming on Experts on Purpose.
Thank you, my friend.